let's get into this straight away. This is the 6th part to the Rocky, why Rocky is more than just a boxing movie, and we're going to talk about Rocky 5. So we've spoken about Sylvester Stallone's story, we've spoken about Rocky getting a chance against the heavyweight champion, and all he wanted to do was go the distance. Then we talk about him having a rematch and battling not only that, but also his wife going into labour and her going into a coma, and him not wanting to know anything or anyone until she was safe. And then she says, win, Rocky, win. Stuff. Don't get me started. Then he becomes the heavyweight champion of the world, and in Rocky 3 he ends up learning that he was carried for 3 years after he became the champion. He felt he was carried, but his career was protected. But then his trainer dies, he loses the heavyweight championship, he has to go back to the beginning. Apollo raises him back up, ends up winning the title back. Rocky 4, Apollo ends up dying. I mean, it's such crazy stuff. And then he ends up taking on the Russian, which is probably his biggest challenge ever. He has to go to Russia and ends up getting the crowd to like him, even though they hated him. So now we're at Rocky 5. And the great thing about the Rocky movies is where it starts is where the previous one finished. So again, you start to live through the moment of Rocky battling back, the crowd getting to want him to win and cheering for him even though they hated him, and then him winning against the Russian, and him saying, if I can change, you can change, we all can change. Amazing. Then it goes back to the locker room, and Rocky's in the shower, and his trainer's going, you know, he did such an amazing job, Apollo will be so proud. And then Rocky says, hey, just get Adrian. So he goes and gets Adrian, and he's sat there and he's just shivering like this, and she says, what's wrong? He's like, you know, I can't stop my hands from moving. She goes, let's get you to the doctor. He goes, no, I just want to get home, I just want to get back home. So they leave, they get back home, and it turns out there's been another crazy event that's gone on. So whilst they were away in Russia, Paulie gave the power of attorney to the lawyer. Now this lawyer was meant to only like do a tax return or some stuff, but Paulie is given power of attorney for the whole thing. So he has taken all of Rocky's money, everything they own. Can you imagine that? To come from the gutter, to raise it all the way up to the top, and then something so simple as that to have it all taken away. So with this, you know, who's looking after your finances? Are you financially intelligent enough to do that sort of stuff? Who do you trust? That's just a little thing there, whatever, but he's now lost it all. But at that time, he was offered a chance to fight this guy, which was a bit like Buster Douglas versus Mike Tyson. I'm going to go to Tokyo and do the fight over there. But Adrian says, look, you can't fight, you know, you need to go and see a doctor with what's going on. He goes, hey, I'm going to fight, that's all I know, I can fight, I can get some money back, we're going to be okay. She goes, look, please, just at least go and see the doctor. So they go and see the doctor and they say, look, if you take any more hits, you're going to die. Simple as that, really. You know, your brain has taken such punishment. So again, when you think that you've got the tools needed to get you out of trouble, and we're all so suited to one thing and that's what we rely on, now all of a sudden he's being told, no, your skills are no longer valid. And that's what's going on with so many people at the moment. How many things are getting automated? How many jobs are being lost? The whole way social distancing is, the whole way people can't go out, people are losing their jobs. But Rocky had a skill. He had a skill which got him to where he was. Now he was told that if he used that skill, he could die from it. So that's a battle that a lot of us go through. And it's a challenge and a sad thing that happens to a lot of people. So he then accepts that that's what it has to be like. Adrian goes back to the pet shop. Rocky starts to build Mickey's gym up again. Mickey left the gym to Rocky's son in the will, and he builds the gym up again. And some guy turns up, and his name's Tommy the Gun. And Rocky isn't looking to coach anybody, he's not looking to train anybody, he's just looking to get the gym open and get some money coming in. But Tommy wants him to train him. That's what he wants. And you know, he kind of dismisses the whole thing. I'm not a trainer, Micky's a trainer, I'm not like that. And he starts training at the gym, and Rocky sees what he's about, but again he dismisses it. And it's Tommy, he has some raw talent, and Paulie says, look, this is your way to get out of trouble here. So long story short, Rocky starts to train Tommy, and he uses all of the knowledge that Mickey gave to him. He tries to protect him, he tries to build his career. You know, there's no point shooting up so quick because you're going to fall even quicker. Let's build it up, let's build it up, let's build it up. But the guy that was trying to organise the fight with him and this other guy in Tokyo, which is a bit like Don King really, a real scumbag of a man, he ends up getting into Tommy's head that Rocky is just a puppet for Rocky. Rocky, like, he's holding him back. He's no good for him. And you know, how many people does that happen to? Like, you give someone a chance, you pass on all your knowledge, all your ability, and it's not that you're asking for appreciation or gratitude or anything, but all of a sudden now somebody doesn't respect what you try to do for them. So this guy has got into his head and he's manipulated the whole situation because he's always wanted to get Rocky to come back into fighting. So he builds this whole story up that Rocky is now going to fight Tommy, but Tommy, being the hothead that he is, and he's been so manipulated to believe that he's just Rocky's puppet, he goes and confronts Rocky. But Rocky is from the streets, so they take it to the streets. But this Don King type doesn't want that, he wants it in the ring. There's millions of dollars involved in this. But what I'm getting at here is, like, somebody has manipulated the guy that you've taken the time out to help. That guy's not showing appreciation to you. That guy, because of what you've got him to, has then become a success. And then when the time came to thank the person that they're most grateful for, you know, who would you like to thank for this? Who would you like to mention, like an Oscar speech, for example? He says, you know, the Duke, which is like the Don King. He didn't even recognize Rocky. And can you imagine that? You've put your heart, your soul, you've passed on all your knowledge that you've learned from somebody that gave them all their heart and soul, and now they're just throwing it all away. They're throwing it all away. So Tommy confronts him about being a puppet, about, you know, being in Rocky's shadow. This is the only way, because Don King's told him the only way for you to get that shadow, that monkey off your back, is by facing Rocky, and we're going to do it in the ring. But it didn't happen in the ring, it happened in the streets. And if you fight Rocky in the streets, he's going to get dirty. And that's what happened. So that was Rocky 5. So you see, you know, you've overcome the biggest challenge of your life, and now all of a sudden you've lost everything. Imagine going through that, and so many of us are going through that and have been through that. A boxing movie? I think not. Now, if you like what you've seen here, there is another Rocky movie, and I think I'm going to finish it off with that one. But I'd love to hear if you want me to do it, or even if you think it's actually part of the Rocky series. Rocky 1 to 5 was from the 70s until the 90s, and then he came out with Balboa, which I think is a good movie. But let me hear your comments, let me know if you want me to discuss the next one. But I really hope this is kind of getting you around to the idea that Rocky is more than just a boxing movie. This is having a support group. This is battling your challenges. This is overcoming all of the bad things that people say about you and knowing that you're worthy of becoming who you are. Falling down, getting back up. You know, get down 7 times, get up 8. It's so important. We go through these challenges each day, but it's not, as Rocky says, it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. As I said, connect with me. My main business is sales training and motivation. Please spread this across. I'm trying to spread as much value as possible, but I will see you, if you want me to discuss Balboa. Let me know. But either way, thank you for joining me on this journey. Take care. Bye.